Oh, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Life's Good. You've caught me in the greenhouse again, and I'm sowing my chard. And we almost had a small disaster with the chard and a few other items that were in the greenhouse. Have a quick look at this video. The last 2 days have been absolutely glorious up here in the northeast of England. We've had some fantastic sunny days, beautiful clear blue skies. But unfortunately the payback for that is that the greenhouse gets extremely hot. I've just stepped through the door. It's about 3:30 in the afternoon. I don't know if you can see this very well. I'm trying to get it to focus, but it's actually 32 degrees Celsius in here at the moment, and the coldest it's been in the evening is 7 or just under 7.5 degrees Celsius. If I just quickly press the buttons on the side of here, guys, I'll just change that back. So it's currently 89 Fahrenheit, and it's gotten down to 45 Fahrenheit overnight. Quite warm and more typical of May weather. I'm going to try and put that back to centigrade, which is what I prefer. There we go. 31 centigrade at the moment and 7 overnight, and the maximum was 32 so far today. So very, very warm. Well, as a result of that, I'm having to water everything quite frequently in here, and during that made a schoolboy error. Now if I turn you back around here, you can see I have my recently purchased packets of seeds here. Well, I'd left these on the shelf in the greenhouse ready to to sow during this week. Well, when I watered, I didn't realise that all the water from the trays had run off of various containers and pots and things and completely soaked these packets. The worst one was my chard. Now I've had to decant the chard seeds into this paper cup, plastic cup rather. The state of that packet, you wouldn't think that this was a brand new packet of seeds, guys, but it is. I bought it a week ago, and here it is, looking like it's been attacked by slugs and left out in the weather for the whole of the winter. My fault again. Schoolboy error. I watered everything and everything got soaked. This packet of sunflower seeds, which I intend to sow as part of the sunflower challenge, I was going to do that this afternoon, but I'm busy sorting a few other things out, and at the same time I'm having to dry these packets out. Quite fortunate with these ones in so much as they were inside a foil pack inside. So this is my magic roundabout sunflower. The packet is a little bit worse for wear, but the seeds seem all right in the foil packet. Now I do believe there's a foil packet in here for the other sunflowers, and also my sage. I'm intending to grow this in a couple of pots for the garden or near the herb garden. And again, the packet's drying out now. I couldn't open it yesterday afternoon. It was absolutely sodden, and I didn't want to destroy it completely or lose any seeds. So I've just had to let them dry out till today. Equally so with my beans, this packet was, I could almost not handle it. It was like paper mache. Stupid me, soaked everything. Ridiculous. I think I've survived. Well, certainly I've survived. I'm hoping that the seeds have survived. So I'll be cracking on and sowing those and explaining what I'm doing with those later on. Well, as you saw in that video, guys, I had a bit of a disaster with the seeds. They have all dried out. I have got them here. They seem to be okay, especially the ones inside the little foil packets. All is not lost. And this afternoon I've just finished work. Actually, I've not long finished work, and I couldn't wait to get some lighter clothes on and get out here and start a few things, or carry on with a few things more importantly. And the one thing I did want to do is to start sowing my chard. This is the packet that I was showing you in that previous video. There's not much of it left now. It's completely gone. It's falling to pieces, but there's enough information on here that I can read to get some idea of what to do with these seeds. Now the seed I did, as I showed you, save in this little cup, and all I'm doing is I've used a 24 cell tray, and I filled it with compost. I've been making holes in these little cells, and What I'm going to do is sow just a couple in each cell, just hedging my bets really. I don't know if they're all going to germinate, but I'm going to put 2 of these chard seeds in each of these little cells, and I don't know whether I'm going to keep them together if they both germinate and just put them out as a little clump each, or whether they could be separated, or what am I doing? I've lost count, guys. I was talking to you guys, I was looking at what I was doing, and then I looked away, I glanced away, and I've lost my place. There we go. There's 2 in there, 2, 2, 2. Right, as I was saying, I'm putting 2 in each. I've never done this before. It's like a multi-sowing situation where you multi-sow in these cells and put things out as clumps. Now, it was my idea to put 2 in each cell. If one doesn't germinate and the other one does, then that's fair enough. If they both germinate, I'll probably remove the weaker one. Or if they both look pretty good and they're happy to stay together, then I might just leave them together, plant them out together. Now, the idea is, my radishes, as you've seen on previous videos, they're all being harvested now. Just looking to see if that's that one. My radishes are being harvested now, and very soon that area will be clear. Now, I do have other radishes on other areas of the plot. I've put them in with carrots, for example. When you harvest the radishes, you create spacings for the carrots. You see, I've got a few left in there. I've got another tray full, I would imagine. I'm just going to cover these over. So yeah, when the radishes are gone, there'll be space for another crop. And my thinking is that as they're cleared, and ultimately the shallots are cleared, and they're adjacent to each other, I can replace those 2 crops with chard. It would be a good area to put the chard, and the chard will be ready later in the year. But that little space where the radishes and the shallots are would be ideal for these. And then I'm looking at the other areas beyond them where I've got salad crops growing, lettuces and spinach and so on. As they are harvested and removed from the ground, then I'm looking at putting more sort of winter greens there. So I'll be replacing those with things like, I don't know, some winter cabbage, maybe some broccoli, and there was another one someone was recommending to me. I can't remember what it was now. It'll come to me in a minute. But yeah, greens would go there quite well. So there we go. Those are planted in there. Now this particular chard variety is Bright Lights. It's a Fothergill's, Mr. Fothergill's seeds. I would have told you how much I paid for these, but unfortunately oh, there you go. £2.50. So £2.50 for the chard. A bit pricey compared to some of the other seeds I've purchased, but there's quite a few seeds in there, and if I get a good crop from these, and they do keep coming on as you harvest them, that'll be well worth it, I think. I'm not sure what you would spend on chard in a supermarket. Maybe someone could let me know. I've never purchased it, so... And in fact, I don't recall seeing it in the supermarket. Well, there's a thing. Maybe someone can enlighten me. Do supermarkets sell chard? And how much do they charge? We certainly like using the leaves, like a spinach. And the stalks are delicious as well. So we will be looking forward to harvesting these. Well, that's my chard. I can put that to one side. I shall get another tray out and sow some more. I'm going to sow all of these. If I can't use them all, I might pass some on to a friend, or again, I put a little shelf of plants at the front of the house and sell them for a few pence, just to recoup some cash back for the cost of the seeds, really. Just ask for a donation from people and they're quite happy to take the plants on. Right, guys, well, I'm going to carry on sowing seeds. Now, there's a few other things I've been doing, and I might lift you... I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll lift you off the tripod, and I'll give you a quick look at some of the things I've been up to outside. Right, well, we just stepped outside the greenhouse. You can see everything's coming on well on the plot, much the same as it was the last time you were here with me. We're harvesting quite a bit of this now, especially some of the salad leaves and the radishes, and we've had a few of the leaves from the beetroots as well in our salads, which is all very nice. The cabbages and the brassicas, they seem to have come back from their little bit of bird strike the other day. That framework with the netting on seems to be keeping the pigeons off now, which is quite good. Now, what I wanted to show you was back here. Not sure how well you can see this. It's a bit shady down this end now. That tub that I'd converted into a strawberry planter wasn't very successful, so we've chosen to do away with that. There was only about 3 or 4 plants surviving, so we've taken the strawberry plants out of there and put them in a tub, and I'm going to take the soil out of this and use it to grow my runner beans. That will be another video. I'll show you what I'm doing with the runner beans this year. But behind this planter is the area where we've got our currants, and I'm not sure how well you can see this, but I've built this structure, this sort of framework, using those old fence materials in this corner, over which I'm going to drape netting to keep the birds from taking all our currants. They do love the currants, and they will come in here and strip these plants bare if we're not too careful. So we're going to put the netting over this structure to keep the birds out. But while I was here looking at all this, thinking about moving the tub and looking at this structure, I realised that this area of soil behind here is about 6 square feet or so here, maybe a bit more. Once the tub's out the way, I was considering sort of putting a smaller structure on the side of that, covering it with polythene and using it as a sort of a small greenhouse for my chilies. So it'd be interesting to hear what you think of that, guys, if you've got any comments about that idea. But I think it's an ideal spot. It gets sun most of the day, and it's only at this time of day. It's late in the afternoon now. The sun's starting to go off, so it's creating quite a bit of shadow, and I'm hoping that you can see okay. It doesn't look very good to me looking at the screen, but we'll see what it looks like when I get indoors. So yeah, that little area as a sort of cobbled together framework with plastic to make some sort of a greenhouse polytunnel sort of area to put chilies in. We'll see. I'll give it some thought, and I'll have another look at that and see what we do. And one final thing before I let you go, guys, is back in the greenhouse, you probably noticed that I was using my sowing tray that I'd made back inside the greenhouse, when in fact I'd moved it out and put it in the shed further up the plot. Well, I found that that was an inconvenient location for it. That didn't work very well, simply because all the trays and the pots, the compost, all the germinated seedlings and the plants and everything I was working with are in here. And it made sense to put the workstation back in here with everything conveniently nearby. And also, from that small shed that I'm taking apart, and I'm going to replace that with another greenhouse, in that shed was a small cabinet, and in that cabinet, which is now placed in here, are all sorts of bits and pieces that I use in and around the greenhouse for planting, sowing, growing and so on. So I've sort of chosen to keep this corner of this greenhouse oh, excuse me, I think I might have swallowed a fly, guys. Dear me. Yeah, I'm going to keep this corner of the greenhouse as sort of the little workstation where everything starts, everything gets pricked out and planted on and potted up. So this is where everything's going to happen, and the shelves in here are ideal to put my trays of little seedlings and germinated seeds out. And the second greenhouse will be ideal to place plants that have been potted up and potted on to mature and grow. For example, the tomatoes at the back there. And I've got a considerable amount of chilies growing here. They've all been pricked out into pots. That other structure that I'm talking about with the polythene covering might be ideal for the chilies alone. And the second greenhouse would give me loads of room for the tomatoes, the cucumbers, all manner of things that I could grow under glass. So we'll see how it all develops. We'll give it some thought. We'll sketch a few ideas and do a few calculations and so on, and see how things pan out on paper before I start wielding hammers and digging holes and changing everything around dramatically. Well guys, it's the end of another day. I've got a few things to do before I go in. I'm going to relax this evening. I'm going to have a few apple lemonades and some supper with my wife and relax outside in the garden as long as the sun is shining. So whatever you're doing guys, you take care, come back and see us soon, and don't forget to subscribe, and whatever you're doing, be happy, be safe, and come back soon. Bye bye now.